Part 95. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 941. Chapter 941. You can't have your cake and eat it too. What else could Lan Min do? Naturally, he would go to Lin Na. What should I do now? What does Sunian mean by this? What is she planning? Lin Na, why don't you speak? What are you doing if you don't speak? After saying this, Lan Min looked at Lin Na. But unexpectedly, she happened to see Lin Na yawning, yes, yawning. This really made Lan Min even more anxious, and he couldn't help but say, Lin Na, what time has it been? Why are you still yawning? Are you listening to me seriously? Of course I am listening to you. After all, there is nothing wrong with my ears, but I really hope you can get rid of this problem. You come here, but you just can't think of any good ideas, so why don't you just come here and let me know? I'm giving you an idea. If that's the case, why don't you give me a chance to speak? While saying this, Lin Na looked at Lan Min with as much disdain as she wanted. What am I? Every time you come to me, you keep talking, as if your mouth is charged and will be replaced soon. You talk about you look so worthless, I don't know how to talk to you. How many times have I said that it is best to calm down when things happen? Why don't you calm down and still act like this? What other option does Lan Min have but to remain silent? When Lan Ren shut up, Lin Na slowly said, this matter is not that complicated, it's just that he asked you to choose. You can't have your cake and eat it too, just choose one of the two companies. There's nothing to say about that. But don't you think that Sunian has other plans for this matter? After all, according to normal thinking, shouldn't she be thinking about how to drive me out of the Li group? Why is this? Lan Min was confused. How could Lin Na not be confused? Could it be that Li Baikan was fine at all, so Sunian would not interfere in the company, but he was afraid that this was Sunian deliberately setting up a smoke bomb? Playing against someone like Sunian, I feel really comfortable and have a desire to challenge, and it turns out that she made the right move. Not only is it very fun to play against Sunian, but Sunian is also Li Baikan's weakness. Now that he has brought things to such an extent, things are starting to become particularly interesting. But, Lan Ren can do whatever he wants now, and it won't affect him. All I have to do is watch the show. Whatever you can have, you can choose now. Just choose one between Li's group and Sunian's small company. I really think there is nothing wrong with Sunian's behavior. You can't want everything, and you really don't have anything. Everything you need. When she said this, Lin Na was a little curious. Why are you so entangled in such a simple decision? Lan Zhen wanted to say something. But when Lan Min's words came to his lips, nothing came out. Lan Min didn't say anything, so Lin Na said for her, are you a little unwilling to withdraw from Sunian's company? Do you think that if Sunian really develops the company, then you missed the opportunity, but at the same time you are reluctant to let go of the Li group? It took a lot of effort for you to get to this point. At the same time, you have not yet established a foothold in the Li group. You are afraid that if Li Baikan wakes up, you will leave Sunian's company again. When you exit, you have nothing. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 942. Chapter 942. Huo Linyuan discovered Lin Na. When Lin Na said this, she really felt that if there was a normal-minded person nearby who heard her say this, he would definitely think that her mind was not normal. But there is no other way, that's what this Lan person thinks. At the same time, Lin Na now really feels that she is very powerful and can actually understand Lan Min's thinking logic. With his abilities, how could he not succeed? If God doesn't allow you to succeed, then God just doesn't have the foresight. Lin Na, what do you mean by this? Do you mean to say something sarcastic? Now the situation is really urgent. Whatever is urgent, you just choose. What is good, what else can you do now? Do you want me to go to Sunian and tell Sunian, you see my face, don't embarrass you and Lan, why can't you get along well with me? I mean, even if Sunian wants to get along well with you, you can't get along well with her. Sunian, that's just a small company. Why do you care about that? I really don't know what you have to worry about. Haven't you always looked down on Sunian for relying on his identity and family's abilities? After you settled the current situation, you gave Huo Linyuan a good talk and asked Huo Linyuan to open a company for you. Huo Linyuan loved you so much that you could open it in a matter of minutes. In your heart, you really do think you are not as good as Sunian? These words immediately made Lan Ji determined. I know what to do, thank you Lin Na, thank you for helping me. Lin Na looked at the woman in front of her who said thank you and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. She really feels now that this Lin Na is the kind of person who will count the money for her after selling her. This woman. After Lan Min left, a man appeared in front of Lin Na. Lin Na raised her eyebrows slightly when she saw the man, and then stood up. It's really a rare visitor. What kind of wind is it today? It actually blew Mr. Huo to my place. It's really a rare visitor, that's right, come here. The person in question was none other than Huo Linyuan. Huo Linyuan came to Lin Na expressionlessly. Miss Lin, you are really capable. You have been hiding for so long and you are still using my woman. Don't you know the price of this? I'm also a little curious about the price, Mr. Huo, what price you can give me. Mr. Huo, you may not believe it. The moment I took advantage of your woman, Mr. Huo, I was mentally prepared. I can say it every day. It's been a life of worry, but now that Mr. Huo is finally here, I can't help but feel relieved. I even feel a lot more relaxed. Although Lin Na said how scared she was, there was no fear at all on her face, and she was even a little excited. The reason why Lin Na is like this is because she knows that she has finally succeeded. Successfully came into Huo Linyuan's sight. You must know that the Lin family is really weak and has no sense of existence in the eyes of big men like Huo Linyuan and Li Baikan. Lin Na could really see murderous intent in Huo Linyuan's eyes at this moment. But even so, what's the point? Threats always coexist with opportunities. You are really an interesting woman. Your behavior will bring disaster to you and your family. But these words succeeded in making Lin Na smile more and more. The disaster is just in your mind, Mr. Huo. As long as you want it, Mr. Huo, you can do it at any time. I am a little woman. Any solution? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 943. Chapter 943 Smart People. Huo Linyuan looked at Lin Na and then laughed. He pinched Lin Na's chin with his hand. Another smart woman. Women, you know, if a woman is too smart, she will not end well. Am I smart? I am not smart. After all, if I am really smart, then I will not be discovered by Mr. Huo. Hey, I am still a little insignificant in front of you, Mr. Huo. But Mr. Huo, I suggest, we still talk about important things. After all, we are wasting time here, it seems to be of no use at all. After all, I am more valuable to you, Mr. Huo, alive. After Lin Na said this, the whole world fell into silence. Lin Na's heart also started to beat fast. That's right, she was betting that the man in front of her didn't want to kill her when he appeared in front of her, but wanted to use her. She knew very well what the price would be if she lost the bet. After Lin Na said this, she really felt that the time was getting longer and longer. Even Lin Na really felt as if her heart was about to reach her throat. At this moment, Huo Linyuan let go of her. You are a really smart woman, but I hope you can use your smartness to create your own value in front of me. If you don't use your smartness to create value, then your smartness is really useless. When Lin Na said this, she knew very clearly that she had won, she really had won. The reason why Huo Linyuan discovered Lin Na was because Lan Min seemed to have suddenly become enlightened about some things recently. How could Huo Linyuan not understand the person next to him? So it was easy to find out who was messing around behind Lan Mi, and Huo Linyuan was really a little angry when he found out it was Lin Na. He is very aware of Lan Min's ability, and the reason why he singled out Lan Min from so many women in the first place is because Lan Min is very simple. After all, the women around him all have scheming intentions. He was really tired from dealing with scheming women. But his woman was being played with by someone else, someone he couldn't even name. Such a situation was a slap in the face. At that moment, Huo Linyuan's first thought was to let this woman still have her. The Lin family behind her just disappeared from this world. But after seeing what Lin Na did these days, he changed his mind. Lin Na actually had the guts to attack Li Baikan. Such a bold Lin Na, under certain circumstances, isn't she a perfect chess piece? Lina, you are a smart person, you should understand what I mean. Lin Na laughed directly when she heard this. Of course I understand what you mean, but you just want to use it to attack Li Baikan. Now everyone is suspecting that the person who made Li Baikan unconscious is Mr. Huo. Think about it, why don't you just admit this kind of thing, and then use me to plot against Li Baikan? If I succeed, then Mr. Huo will have achieved your goal. If I don't succeed, you can frame everything on me. Body. Lin Na, it turns out you like to keep everything in plain sight. Isn't it better to put it on the surface? After all, if I really play tricks on you, Mr. Huo, what good consequences will there be? If that's the case, then why not say it frankly and honestly, that's good for everyone. The two looked at each other and smiled, and immediately understood what this meant. Also knows what to do. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 944. Chapter 944. Sunian finally appears. Li's group and Sunian's small company. How else can Lan Min choose? The next day, Lan Min went to the Human Resources Department to submit his resignation application. SYHR is very efficient and approved in less than an hour. Lan Min immediately hugged the cardboard box and prepared to leave. But before Lan Min could reach the door, he bumped into Sunian. Ms. Lan, are you leaving so soon? You are also an old employee who followed my sister and I when we first founded the company, and you are also the management of our company. Do you want me to organize a farewell party for you? That's it? If I leave in a deserted manner, the employees in the company might think that I am too harsh on others, which will make everyone feel cold. Sunian looked at Lan Min with a smile on his face. Sun Ying-er, who was next to her, immediately responded to Sunian's words and said, Nian, you are so kind. All the employees in the company have eyes. How could they think like this? Sunian, I don't know what you are planning, but I can say that your behavior is like losing the watermelon and picking up the sesame seeds. I have no other meaning. I just hope that you will not regret what you did today. Why, of course Lan Min knew what Sunian meant at this time. How could the price drop now? No matter what happens, there must be momentum. After all, there is a saying that losers do not lose the formation. Of course I know, but I am self-aware. I know what I am capable of, and I will do what I do. You know, if you are really not capable and want to eat a fat man in one bite, then the final result may not be the same. That's great. That's good if you think so, but I really hope you won't feel too uncomfortable if you see others eating something. Why should I feel uncomfortable? After all, what abilities I have, don't I know it myself? No one with a little bit of brain would feel too uncomfortable. Hey, Lan Min, do you know what I hate most about you? I hate you most. I always feel that everyone in this world is a fool, and your opponents are all fools. In your case, it is really a bit rude. You are an adult after all. Why do you always have such childish thoughts? You have such childish thoughts, you know, you are so rude, I don't like your thoughts very much. You must know that although Lan Min has really made a decision, he still feels a little unspeakable in his heart. I always feel that Sunian must have some backup plan. But there was another voice in Lan Min's heart. The other voice said, this won't be anything. How could this be anything? Sunian may be scaring you, so it won't happen at all. Don't worry about it. The more entangled it is, the more Sunian will succeed. Sunian, I don't have what you can say. When Sunian heard this, he suddenly became a little uneasy. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? To be honest, your behavior is really like fighting with a primary school student. I beg you, can you a little more mature? When Lan Min said this, he walked up to Sunian and said, Sunian, you are so arrogant, are you really not afraid? Will you soon stop laughing? These words made Sunian couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. You do make me look forward to it. What kind of methods you will use makes me unable to hold my head up. It really makes me look forward to it. The next moment, Lan Min laughed directly, ha ha ha, then you can take your time and look forward to it. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 945. Chapter 945. After saying this in Lanzi, a voice sounded. Sunian, get out of the design circle, get out of the clothing circle. The huge sound made everyone stunned. Sunian was shocked. She looked at Lan Min. Sure enough, I could see a proud expression on Lan Min's face. Hey, Lan Min, why are you acting like this? Are you sure of winning now? You are really a bit too arrogant. When things are not completely sure, you are really stupid in this situation. Do you get me? Lan Min didn't take it seriously at all. Sunian, at this time, don't say such things. The more you say such things, the more time you waste. The time you waste is your own. You understand me? What do you mean? I understand, I understand, I understand quite well. If that's the case, then I won't stay here now. After all, I have to deal with things. After saying this, Sunian left humming a song. Chapter 5. When Lan Min heard Sunian humming and walking away like this, he suddenly felt a little uneasy. Why is this Sunian so arrogant? You must know that Sunian is in a desperate state now. Why is he so rampant? Such rampant behavior really makes Lan Min feel uncomfortable. But Lan Min was still comforting himself in his heart, comforting himself not to be like this. Sunian is probably just pretending now. Maybe Sunian did it on purpose, and Sunian just wanted to make herself angry. At this time, Lan Min felt that he had to calm down. As soon as Sunian walked to the door, someone just threw rotten vegetable leaves at Sunian. However, Josu, who was beside Sunian, quickly blocked it with quick eyes and hands. Josu, who was standing in front of Sunian, subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief because he was finally in the way. You must know that in the past, Josu was always unstoppable. Josu even practiced secretly for this purpose. Yes, he practiced secretly. But this also proves that his practice is useful. It's completely useful. Hey hey. Josu was proud, but when he had to say something, he still said it. He immediately turned his head seriously and said to Sunian, "Madam, don't worry, no matter what happens, I will be in front of you and I will protect you of." When Josu just finished speaking, Sun Ying's voice rang out, "That Josu, is it really okay for you to say this? If I'm not mistaken, it seems that this should be what Mr. Li of your family said, you now if I rob your Mr. Li, don't you really think there's a problem?" These words successfully made Josu's expression change. How could he have forgotten this? I coughed a few times immediately. That's not what I meant, I really didn't mean that, you. His behavior directly made the people who caused the trouble a little uneasy. Sunian, you are rich and powerful, but you don't take the dreams of us people seriously. Are you really not afraid of retribution? Sunian turned his attention to the troublemaker again. Everyone was in a state of excitement. You are rich and powerful, why are you trying to steal our livelihood here? Sunian, do you think dreams are something that can be wasted casually? For a person like you, are you really not afraid of going to hell? Sunian, you will not die like this. Sunian listened casually. Listening to what these people are saying to themselves, they feel very calm. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 946. Chapter 946. Lan Yan, who was following me, felt really relieved when he saw this situation. She wanted to see what kind of state Sunian would be in when faced with such a level of opposition from everyone. At this moment, Sunian unexpectedly turned around and left. That's right, Sunian actually turned around and left. This made Lan Min a little disappointed as he expected how Sunian would deal with it and whether he would be overwhelmed. What on earth is Sunian doing? Doesn't Sunian want to deal with it? Impossible. How could Sunian not handle such a situation? Isn't Sunian worried about his reputation? Although Lan Min knew very well that what he had to do now was to leave gracefully. This way it will have an image. But, Lan Min really couldn't help it, and couldn't control his curiosity. I followed immediately. That's right, I just followed it. Lan Min took a few steps and unexpectedly heard Josu's words, "Madam, what do you need me to do? If you have any orders, just say it directly. No matter how you want to deal with these people, as long as you speak, then you can take care of them." When Sunian heard this, he stopped and looked at Josu with a questioning look on his face. "Josu, who am I, what are the identities of these people, why should I care about these people? Don't you think it's beneath your status to be criticized?" Lan Ji laughed directly when he heard this. Sunian really did not disappoint him. With Sunian's attitude, how could God let her go like this? Lan Zhen didn't believe it. This would not let her go when he saw Lan Zhen looking so disgusting. Oh, that's it? Madam, what you said makes sense, very reasonable. Hee, look at my brain, why can't I always think of such simple things? I really don't know how to describe it now. I have lost my mind. Sunian, Josu, I know you like to flatter me, and I also know why you like to flatter me, but when you flatter me, can you be a little bit gentler? You have some moral integrity, after all, you like to flatter me so much, and you don't have any moral integrity, which really makes me a little bit unreasonable. Then the group of them left fighting like this. However, Lan Min has been struggling with these people for so long, and he still knows a little bit about Sunian's abilities, so he also knows that Sunian may be faking. The purpose of doing this is to numb yourself. But then he immediately gave up his idea. The reason for this is that from that day on, the internet started to explode accounts like crazy. You must know that Sunian has no so-called attitude at all, and is completely arrogant. Lan Min was happy when he saw this. Sunian will definitely suffer from this, ha ha ha. Isn't Sunian quite smart in normal times? Why is he like this at this time? Yes, isn't Sunian usually very smart? I also want to know why he is like this, Lin Na said casually. Lin Na really didn't believe that Sunian did this just to vent his anger. Sunian must have other plans. No matter what plan she had, Lin Na felt that she had to do something now, knowing that Huo Linyuan was staring at her now. If she really does nothing, then Huo Linyuan will definitely feel that she is not taking things seriously. You must know that Huo Linyuan is not someone to be trifled with. Immediately, Lin Na took out her cell phone and coldly ordered her subordinates, intensify the intensity of the navy, continue to use blackmail, and make sure to make Sunian's reputation bad. As bad as you can make it, then it will be bad. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 947. Chapter 947. In the following time, no matter what kind of wind and rain there was outside or what people outside said, Sunian had no reaction. Even such a reaction makes people feel that Sunian is waiting for others to forget this matter. I think this matter will be over soon. Lin Na felt that things couldn't be that simple. If Sunian was really that simple, it would be impossible for him to be in such a position. The more this happened, the more uneasy Lin Na became. After all, Huo Linyuan is watching from the side now. The key point is that there is no news about Li Baikan now. Even now, it can be said that the couple magically disappeared from everyone's sight. In this situation, they can really be said to be facing an unknown opponent. The most important thing now is to know what they are doing. And what else Li Baikan and Sunian can do is naturally coax their children. Sunian sat on the sofa and watched Li Baikan teach the children. This is a, the first sound is pronounced like this, the second sound is pronounced like this, do you understand what I mean? Yes, Li Baikan is teaching Mo Bao Pinyin. Mo Bao didn't want to talk at all. This dad is really a bit too much. He is only 1 year old. It is absolutely crazy for someone to do this to a 1-year-old child. Mo Bao, what's wrong with you? Why don't you read with dad? You have to know that this is very important to you. Don't worry, take your time. No matter when you learn, dad will be by your side. Really of. Haha, what you say is so considerate that I couldn't be more considerate. Sunian really couldn't stand it anymore. Is it really okay for you to do this? After all, Mo Bao is still so young, and you are putting so much pressure on him now. Haven't you ever heard of letting children win at the starting line? If our children can win at the starting line, wouldn't you be happy? Sunian laughed when he heard this. Dad is a domineering president, doesn't this mean winning at the starting line? No, this is simply the end of life as soon as you are born. Sunian looked at Li Baikan carefully. Is this Li Baikan deliberately tormenting Mo Bao? Don't blame me for thinking that way on purpose, the point is, it's really a bit too similar. Li Baikan shouldn't be so crazy and capable of doing such a thing. Li Baikan felt a little guilty when he heard this. He is really mad. Although Li Baikan made up his mind to make up for the father's love that Mo Bao did not get in his previous life, but, well, it's just a but. Mo Bao was really moved to tears when he heard his mother say this. Sure enough, my mother is the best to me in this world. Mo Bao immediately walked towards Sunian with a grieved face. Mom. Even though Sunian promised Li Baikan that he must be indifferent and not be too kind to Mo Bao, Sunian's heart softened when he heard Mo Bao's pitiful voice. But before Mo Bao could reach Sunian, he was immediately taken into custody. Li Chenmo, don't forget that you are a man. A man like you must know that you have to protect your mother when you grow up. If you don't work hard now, how can you protect your mother in the future? Do you understand me? Mo Bao is really angry now. Why am I so young and why do I have to be reborn to 1 year old? If I had not been reborn to 1 year old, even if I was 3 or 4 years old, I would not have been so aggrieved. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 948. Chapter 948. Mo Bao now really regrets that he expected his father's love in his previous life. Why can't I figure it out? I'm looking forward to this. What is there to look forward to? However, Mo Bao still has a new life. How could I be passively manipulated by this father all this time? I had an idea immediately. Then Mo Bao blinked his eyes. Yeah, Mo Bao will definitely protect mom in the future, but if I protect mom, then what will you do, Dad? Don't you want to protect mom? Do you want to protect other ants? Li Baikan. When Li Baikan was speechless, Mo Bao threw himself into Sunian's arms and said, Mom, Dad seems to be too bad. Yes, if Mo Bao is asked to protect his mother, then what are you doing as a father? Li Baikan walked up to Sunian with a smile on his face, then bent down and gently pecked Sunian on the cheek. Dad doesn't do anything. What Dad has to do is wait for Mom to protect me. After all, Mom is powerful. As a father, I can't compare to my mother, who is the most powerful one in our family. Good guy, this Li Baikan is really not ashamed at all. Sunian stretched out his hand and pushed the man away. And glared at the man fiercely. But at this moment, Sun Ying'er's joking voice rang out, I know that you and your wife have a good relationship, but you may not be going too far. After all, our Mo Bao is so smart, and he is one of the best flowers in the future of our motherland. You are really not afraid of him being too precocious. These words shocked Sunian. Hurry and follow the sound and look over. Sure enough, I saw Sun Ying'er's half-smiling face. Sister, why are you here? Why can't I come? Do you still need to follow rules when I come to your place? I remember there were no rules before. What's wrong now? If you really have rules, then you tell me in advance, sister, I must abide by them. Well behaved. The half-smiling look and the joking voice really made Sunian feel a little annoyed. He couldn't help but look at Li Baikan and glared at this guy fiercely. I've heard that children nowadays are very precocious, but Mo Bao is only 1 year old now. Even if he is precocious, he is still a bit too mature. Now Sunian really wants to find a hole in the ground and drill into it. However, as a man, Li Baikan is still relatively thick-skinned when it comes to some things, so in the face of such a situation, Li Baikan walked to Mo Bao's side with a smile, and then lifted Mo Bao away. Sister, you talk to Nian Nian, I'll take the kids and leave without disturbing you anymore. Then he took Mo Bao and left. Actually speaking, Li Baikan is really a perfect man. When he saw someone coming, he took the initiative to take the child away. Sun Ying'er couldn't help but sigh. Sunian didn't want Sun Ying'er to continue this question. After all, people living in this world have to be shameless. After all, she was still young and had to live in this world for many years. Sister, what's the matter with you coming to see me? Hey, you haven't come to see me for a long time, you know? I'm really bored to death, I really feel like I'm getting moldy. When Sunian said this, he walked to Sun Ying'er, held her hand, and shook it gently. Really? Are you really bored? But when I saw you and Baikan looking like you just now, it didn't look like you were bored. I even felt that I shouldn't come. If I came, wouldn't I disturb your sweetness? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 949. Chapter 949. Why do you say this again? People outside are making a fuss, and they are all speculating about what you want to do, what you have in mind, and what the so-called conspiracy is. But who would have thought that you and Baikan are just hiding in the world of two people? Sun Ying-er was amused when she thought about the people outside guessing what Sun Nian meant and trying their best to get the news from her. But Sun Ying-er can really understand why those people think so. After all, the last time Sun Nian hid like this, he had prepared some means. There is no movement now, how can there be no means? It's a pity, Sun Nian really didn't prepare anything this time. Is it lively? Sister, you said that, and I'm really curious about how lively it is outside. Sun Nian sat on the sofa. The servant also poured tea for the two of them immediately. How exciting can it be? How can they push things to this point now? They just focus on me and use a bunch of bad reasons. Haha, the reasons are so bad that I really look at them. Even now, if someone uses a reason that has been used by others, I will directly expose it. For example, yesterday Mr. Wu's wife asked me to watch the horse racing. I directly said, Mrs. Ding made an appointment with me the day before yesterday. You really don't know that person. His face is so ugly. Sun Nian looked at Sun Ying-er. Now when Sun Ying-er said this, it can really be said that she was beaming with joy. This reminded Sun Nian of Sun Ying-er in her previous life. Sun Nian remembered that after she got older in her previous life, she met Sun Ying-er by chance. However, Sun Ying-er in her previous life was really a victim of the love between the male and female protagonists. So when I saw Sun Ying-er in my previous life, her face was haggard, and she didn't feel as high-spirited as she does now. Sun Nian remembers that at that time, she lamented the ruthlessness of Mary Sue novels. That's the best. I feel now that if I stay like this, they might think that I am an outsider. No, I really feel that they will be scared to death by me, especially Lin Na. That's right, Sun Nian also found out that Lin Na was behind Lan Min. To be honest, Sun Nian was a little surprised when he got the news. The reason for this was because Sun Nian had never paid attention to this person before. But looking at it now, Lin Na is really a big variable. Continue to bribe, we are going to bribe everyone this time, but this method is a bit bad, it costs too much money. Well, fortunately we are not short of money. If we are really short of money, then we really can't play go down. Nian, you want to know what your behavior is? It is a naked Versailles behavior. I think if you tell it, you will definitely be beaten, ha ha ha. Sister, you are wrong. This is not Versailles, but telling the truth. Are you and I either short of everything or not short of money now? Not only am I not Versailles, but I am telling the truth. Now everyone is thinking about how she can restore her reputation. But why should we save it? It's shameless. Isn't it good to use this opportunity to expand your reputation? You need to know that there is actually no difference between good and bad reputation. Especially for Sun Nian. You must know that Sun Nian was chased and scolded by many people in his previous life, saying anything. With blessings from the previous life. Sun Nian has nothing to be afraid of. This drama is really good looking. Sister, just sing this play well. If this play is finished, we might as well go on a trip after all, there will probably be nothing to do by then. After hearing this, Sun Ying-er took a deep look at Sun Nian. Are you willing to go to Baikan? Sun Nian, why are you talking about it again? End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 950. Chapter 950. Lu Jing can't warm up a woman's heart. The moment Sun Ying-er stepped out of Sun Nian's door, her expression changed. In this world, there is only one person who can make Sun Ying change her face. That's right, this person is Lu Jing. Lu Jing looked aggrieved, like a puppy abandoned on the roadside. And son, why did it take you so long to go in? Do you know how long I have been waiting for you? What are you waiting for me? What are you doing standing outside? If you didn't know better, you would have thought that Sun Yan wouldn't let you in. Sun Ying looked helpless. Talk about what was the most uncomfortable thing for Sun Ying during this period. This is the guy who keeps asking himself why. Ask Sun Yan what he is thinking. To be honest with myself, this guy still doesn't believe it. But it's also true that with this guy's brain, it's impossible to understand their plan. Hey, don't be embarrassed. But the next moment, Sun Ying really felt that a flock of crows were flying above her head. The reason why I say this is because this guy Lu Jing actually said in a decisive tone, because I'm afraid that my excellence will make Li Baikan jealous, and that villain Li Baikan will think that I have thoughts about my aunt. Sun Ying Yes, I, Lu Jing, have a reputation. Hey, there's nothing I can do about it. After all, I'm so good. It's normal for Li Baikan to feel a sense of crisis. I'm used to it. Hee. Sun Ying now really wants Li Baikan to hear this and kill this guy. If we really want to kill this guy, will we be doing something good for the people? You have to know that there is such a shortage of food now. If you kill Lu Jing, you might be able to save a person with a good mind. What a contribution you will make to the world. Maybe more. Lu Jing felt a little uncomfortable being looked at by Sun Ying like this. But there is nothing we can do. Who makes Sun Ying so smart? If he didn't pretend to be stupid, it would be impossible to get rid of this woman's defensiveness. This woman's defensiveness was really too heavy. After spending so long with her, Lu Jing really felt that even if he was covering a stone, then it's covered. Why can't I cover this woman's heart? When he thought of this, Lu Jing felt really aggrieved. Author, I know that if I tell the truth, you may feel uncomfortable, but you may really be overthinking this. People really have no so-called defensiveness against you. It is entirely because you are overthinking. Yes, you are great. You are the best man in the world. It really makes me feel honored to have you by my side during this period. Maybe this is the life of the happiest person in the world. Sun Ying swore that this could be said to be the most sarcastic thing she had ever said in her life. But he didn't expect this guy to nod, and son, if you think so, that's fine, but it would be better if you behave more reliably. Sun Ying walked forward with a cold face. Look, you've started to shame me again. Why are you like this? Sun Ying went straight over with a cold knife. Lu Jing shut up again. Just like that, Sun Ying took her follower Lu Jing to the company. After arriving at the company, Sun Ying heard her secretary say that someone was coming to visit, which made Sun Ying sigh. Although Sun Ying knew that this was normal and that she should receive these people, the listener was really a little annoyed in her heart, the kind of indescribable annoyance. But at this moment, Sun Ying set her sights on the Lu family. Lu Jing subconsciously protected his chest when he felt his gaze, and son, what do you mean? What do you want to do? Don't mess around, you. End of this chapter.